Hello and welcome to Prep Smart. So today we are going to discuss about the Indian Express news of 29th June. So these are the news that we are going to cover today. First is the India Seychelles partnership, and recently our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has visited there. So we are going to discuss that article. Then there are certain very important addresses our Honorable Prime Minister has made in his recent Mann Ki Baat. So we are going to discuss about that. We are also going to discuss about the bilateral relations. Basically, during the Seychelles visit, our Prime Minister also has met with the Mauritius Prime Minister. So what are the updates about that meeting? Then in the static portion, disaster and environment, we are going to understand what is flash flood, what are the consequences about that. Then we are also going to understand about the current situation of Iran oil and Indian refineries. What is the situation after US has temporarily removed the sanction over Iran oil? And at the end, we are going to talk about the Assisted Reproductive Technology Act 2021. Okay, so these are the 6 topics that we are going to discuss today. So first, we will be starting with our first article, that is the India Seychelles partnership and PM Modi's visit. Now we have already discussed about Seychelles in our previous newspaper coverage. So if you are keeping a tap of that, you will be definitely knowing that before this also Seychelles is for the past a week it is coming into news, and now our Prime Minister Modi has been awarded the Guardian of the Blue Horizon title by the Seychelles. Okay, so PM Modi is visiting there on the regards of their national day, and during that particular period he has been awarded the highest civilian honor of Seychelles, that is the Guardian of the Blue Horizon title. Okay, so this is very important for the state PCS or the banking SSC level of examinations. Apart from that, during this particular meeting, PM Modi also addressed for the climate justice for global south. Now what he has talked about here, basically he has talked about like Seychelles, which is a island country, which is an archipelago, as we have already discussed, right? So these small countries have very small impact on the climate change. Still, they are one of the worst affected countries across the globe. So that is why Prime Minister Modi has addressed for the climate justice for global south. As we know that majorly global south countries are the developing or least developing countries, and although we have less impact on the climate change, still we are facing the most because of the less financial aid, less infrastructure development and everything. So we can definitely quote this particular line in our GS3 answers of UPSC CSE mains, right? Next, what he has envisioned about, he talked about the India's Mahasagar and the neighborhood first policy. Now these two comes under the IR, that is international relation. Now what is the neighborhood first policy? In the neighborhood first policy, we talk about the India's relation with the South Asian countries. Okay, India's relation with the South Asian countries. Basically, we talk about the cross-border trade we have, the bilateral relationship we have, and also in their problems, the humanitarian assistance that we send. So that is all is taken care of through the neighborhood first policy of India. And if we talk about the Mahasagar, which is the mutual and holistic advancement for security and growth across regions. So across region means this is not only talking about Indian Ocean, but altogether we are talking about the entire global south. Okay, so we are talking about the entire global south. Now what are the different policies that is taken here in terms of the Mahasagar? So Mahasagar was initially launched as the Sagar Vision, and later it has been changed to Mahasagar. And as I already told, that Mahasagar not only address the Indian Ocean region but the entire global south. Now in this particular Mahasagar vision, what are the things India pay most attention to? First of all, the role of the first responder role in the HADR assistance. Okay, we also play a pivotal role in the blue economy and also sustainable development. Okay, as well as the capacity building. So these are the points that we can add while we are writing our international relationship answers, and also we can help us to understand the relationship with different countries when we are reading about the international relations. Okay, now next, after this, what we are going to see or revise the location of Seychelles and certain points about Seychelles. So as we can see, so Seychelles is an island nation which is located on the Indian Ocean. Okay, it is located on the western part of the Indian Ocean, and this is the Madagascar. So it is present in the northeastern side of the Madagascar and also in the eastern part of the African mainland. What more is important, it is consist of around 115 islands. So it is basically an archipelago. Archipelago means where we can see group of islands together. The capital of this Seychelles is your Victoria, and this is the member of the African Union, the Commonwealth, and also the Indian Ocean Rim Association. Okay, and as you can see, Seychelles is just below the equator. So this comes in the southern hemisphere of our globe. Okay, so please pay attention, and also not the equator and not the Tropic of Capricorn. None of them are passing over Seychelles, but it comes in our southern hemisphere. Okay, now the next news that we are going to cover is this one, where PM addresses his Mann Ki Baat, and certain points he have discussed about in his Mann Ki Baat. So we are going to discuss about the most important points he discussed. So first thing, he is very grateful and to the citizens of India, because as the recent crisis is going on in Middle East, and because of the problem we are facing as a country in terms of the crude oil import, in terms of the natural gas supply and everything, he has pleaded to the citizens of India, to the people of the country, to switching to carpooling public transport system and not buying golds, so that our forex exchange can be maintained and we can also thrive as a country in this crisis situation. Next, he has also talked about the recent commission of INS Dunagiri, INS Sansodhak and INS Agre, which was commissioned in the Kolkata port. Okay, so recently in Kolkata, Prime Minister himself, he visited during the International Yoga Day, and he commissioned these three naval vessels, that is INS Donagiri, INS Sansodhak and INS Agre. Then he also lauded the biologist. Her name is Purnima Devi Bardhan, and her Hargila army for conservation of the Hargila birds. Now what are these Hargila birds? Let us understand. So if we talk about the Hargila birds, so Hargila birds are currently found in the some parts of Assam and Bihar in India and in Cambodia. Now what is the story about the Hargila? So in case of Hargila, the story is like, initially this bird was found in greater number in all over the Southeast Asia. Okay, but because of the appearance of the bird, because this is a scavenger bird. This is a scavenger bird. So scavenger bird means, although they are omnivorous birds, omnivorous means birds that eat fruits also, like vegetarian diet also, they also eat small insects or small animals. Okay, so both herbivorous as well as carnivorous diet they have, and that is why they are omnivorous bats. Now omnivorous birds. Now why do we call them scavenger bird? Because they are having a very important role in cleaning the environment. Cleaning the environment by cleaning the garbage and the dead bodies that is lying around the dustbins or the landfill areas. Okay, that is the major role of the hargilla. But because of its appearance, first because of its appearance, and second, many peoples around Assam and different parts, they consider them as a bad omen. Bad omen means they are not considered as auspicious, but it is believed that they bring bad luck and they are also bearer of diseases. So that is why local people, especially villagers, they started targeting the hargilla birds. So how did they target them? By cutting the trees where they build the nest, or by breaking the eggs from the nest. So different measures they did. Now if we talk about this particular biologist name whom Prime Minister lauded in his recent Man Ki Baat address, so Purnima Devi Bardhan. Now she came and she formed the Hargilla army with the women, local women. Okay, so now currently more than 10,000 local women are part of this Hargilla army, where they are together working for the conservation of hargilla birds. Okay, and for that she has also achieved recently the Champions of the Earth Award. Champions of the Earth Award by UN. Okay, by UNEP. Okay, so this is also very important. So now what is the conservation status of this particular bird? This bird is recently in IUCN near threatened, and in Wildlife Protection Act it comes in Schedule 4. Please remember, this comes in Schedule 4 and it belongs to the stork family. Okay, this belongs to the stork family, and it is also one of the most protected stork family, or world's rarest storks. Okay, so these are the points we will be remembering for the hargilla bird. Now after this, the next news that we are going to talk about is the boost to strategic ties. Basically, during the Seychelles visit, Prime Minister Modi has also met with the Prime Minister of Mauritius, and regarding this meeting, they have again talked about the neighborhood first policy and also talked about Vision Mahasagar. Okay, where they have talked about strengthening the maritime security, and also India helps Mauritius by giving big time grants, so to promote blue economy there, to stronghold the connection of India over the Indian Ocean, because we already know that China wants to strong its foothold all over the India and Pacific Ocean, and also by developing the digital public infrastructure, UPI, e-governance, etc. So so about all this thing, discussion was done in this recent meeting. Okay, now after this, the next news that we are going to talk about is about flash floods. So what are flash floods? Recently, there was a flash flood in Arunachal and parts of Assam, and because of that the railway bridge there has collapsed. Now we have to understand in terms of disaster management that what is a flash flood and how it basically affect, what are the causes of flash flood, and what are the disaster management methods we have for assisting people who are affected with the flash flood. So first of all, what is flash flood? Flash flood is a situation, see there is a difference between flash flood and flood. So if we talk about the difference between the flash flood and flood, so flood happens because of the prolonged period of time. Okay, Flood happens, suppose in an area there is prolonged raining happening for days or weeks, and because of that that area has been drowned with water. Okay, or maybe the reservoir has filled with water and now they are releasing the water from the reservoir, and that will lead to flood. Okay, so that will take time. But in terms of flash flood, it takes very less time, so people get very less time to prepare or to evacuate that place, and that is why it is more dangerous as compared to the normal flood. Okay, so a flash flood is a sudden and rapid rise of the water levels, usually occurring within 6 hours, often within 3 hours, because of heavy rainfall, cloudburst, dam failure, glacial lake outburst, different reasons. Okay, so that is the difference between the flood and the flash flood. Now here, if this question comes in our geography or in disaster management paper, we will definitely making a diagram to value addition our answer in the mains paper. Apart from that, we would be also knowing that there are two types of causes of flash flood. Some are natural causes and some are anthropogenic causes. So can you just pause the video here and think of any few natural causes and few anthropogenic causes of flash flood? Okay, so if we talk about the natural causes of flash flood, the natural causes of flash flood would be like glacial lake outburst or cloud burst, okay, or maybe sudden earthquake. So this could be the reason of a flash flood. On the other hand, if we talk about the anthropogenic reason, so that could be building a dam and there is a dam failure, okay, or maybe because the river embankment that was built and that didn't work properly. So this could be the anthropogenic causes of the flash flood. Okay, now why Assam and Arunachal Pradesh, basically the eastern Himalayas, are too prone to flash flood? Okay, that is one of the very important point to consider. So the causes that we can discuss about is, first, definitely that there is very high amount of orographic rainfall. Orographic rainfall is observed there, and also there could be sudden cloudburst or glacial lake outburst. That could also be reasons. Apart from that, if we talk about the eastern Himalayas, so eastern Himalaya ranges are highly prone to, so eastern Himalayas are very prone to landslides, tectonic erosions, all these things. Okay, tectonic erosions. So because of all these things, erosion, and apart from that also there are very steep terrains in the mountain regions, steep terrain. Okay, and if we talk about the anthropogenic reason, one of the very major anthropogenic reason is the sudden climate change and its effect that we can see. Okay, so all of this, deforestation, so this kind of points you can add while you are talking about that why the eastern parts of the Himalayas are more prone to flash floods in recent past. Okay, so when they are ask us about the mitigation system, we know that there are NDMA and then SDMA, all these things we need to write. Apart from that, you can also add this point, that is flash flood guidance system, or FFGS, which is basically developed by the IMD and the World Meteorological Organization, or WMO, along with the United States National Weather Service, okay, to provide early warning for the flash flood. So it's very crucial, because in case of flash flood, as we already know, that the time frame is very less. Okay, within 3 to 6 hours the flood appears, so people get very less time to evacuate that place, and that is why this would act as a very strong system in terms of precaution. Okay, that is a flash flood guidance system. Now after this, the next news that we are going to cover is Iran oil and Indian refineries. So recently there is US has granted a 60-day waiver, okay, on the restrictions of the Iranian oil. So we know that the situation currently going on the Strait of Hormuz, and we also know because of that the crude oil that was being imported from the Iran, right, that amount has been now dropped drastically. So as you can see here in this graph, we can see that the different countries from which India import its crude oil over the years. Okay, so starting from May 25 till April 2026, as we can see, our maximum amount of crude oil definitely comes from Russia, then followed by Iraq, and then also a little bit amount comes from the USA, and then also some amount comes from UAE and Saudi Arabia. Okay, but as you can see, the amount of Iran has drastically reduced. Okay, so why this has happened? The reason is that although US has granted the 60-day waiver because of the recent talk between Iran and USA, the sanction has been removed temporarily, but Indian refiners, they are now hesitant to resume large-scale imports. Why? Because of the payment hurdles that is there, and also they don't know what if the sanction is again reimposed before 60 days of waiver, and also there is a Chinese competition all the time, because before the crisis of Strait of Hormuz, China was the largest importer of the Iranian crude oil. Okay, and now it has been assumed that once the crisis subsumes, China will again take the role of the leading buyer of the Iranian crude oil. Okay, so in terms of India, if we see that in 2009-10, Iran accounted for around 14.4% of the oil import of India, but after that when US started to impose the sanctions, slowly our amount of crude oil import from India has reduced, and right now we can see Iran accounted for only 2.7% of crude imports in April after the US waived in sanctions. So 14.4 to 2.7, it's a drastic reduction, right? So that is some points that we can take care of while writing our answers, or also the answering the MCQ type of questions. Okay, now after this, the next news that we are going to talk about is Assisted Reproductive Technology Act. Okay, now what is assisted reproductive technology? Let us understand. This comes under the topic of science and tech. Okay, now assisted reproductive technology is basically innovation of the modern biology, where the couples, those who are not able to have their children after trying of 2 years, okay, so they can go for IVF method. So you definitely have heard about IVF, that is in vitro fertilization. Okay, now what is in vitro fertilization? See, there are two types of method. One is called the in vivo, and the second one is the in vitro. Now, in vivo means something which is happening within the body. Within the body. Okay. In vitro means something which is happening in a laboratory setup, in a lab setup. Lab setup. So basically, if some people, in some cases, they have problem in producing sperms or eggs, or maybe their sperms are not capable enough to fertilize the egg, different problems may arise, and because of that, they are not able to have the baby naturally. So then they go for the IVF methods. Right now, assisted reproductive technology is you can say is the broader umbrella under which different IVF methods come. Okay, now for donating egg for the IVF method, there is Assisted Reproductive Technology Act, or ART Act 2021 is there, which basically differentiate between certain things. Okay, so suppose X, she wants to act as an egg donor, okay, to Y. is another woman, but she is not able to conceive normally, so she wants to have the egg from the eggs. Now for that there are certain parameters. First of all, eggs should be within the age limit of 21 to 35 years. Okay, then she will be going through thorough medical and psychological assessment. Okay, and during this, after this assessment, when it has been seen, okay, she is physically as well as mentally fit, and she also has her consent given, then she can give the egg or donate the egg altruistically. Altruistically means that she will not be doing any kind of commercial sale of her egg. Okay, like she will not be having money by selling her egg, to be very literal sense. Okay, and how many times in her life she can donate her egg? Only once per lifetime. So eggs only once in her lifetime can donate one egg to Y or to any other lady she wants to donate. And this is also in case of India. India is restricted to married women. Okay, but recently there is a nexus has been busted where women coming from the poor background, they were being abused, and because they don't know about the side effects, they were not much informed about the consequences they would be having in their body. So what happened, they donated more than 45 times in a span of 3 to 4 years the eggs. Okay, so recently that racket was busted, and because of that this news came. Okay, so there are two methods. One is the egg freezing for the fertility preservation, and second is egg donation for the third party reproduction. What is egg freezing? In recent days, a female, because they are getting married because of their career and other reasons, if a female don't want to get pregnant by a certain age, she can freeze her eggs when they are viable and good enough, and then later she can use those eggs for getting pregnant. Okay, now these eggs are frozen through the process of cryopreservation, where basically they are put under very low temperature in liquid nitrogen, okay, around minus 273 degrees Celsius. And now this for that the woman can be single, she could be unmarried, she could be divorced, she could be widow. In any of the case, she can freeze her eggs, and there is generally those are frozen for 10 years, but that can be sometimes increased and allowed for elective or medical preservation. Okay, on the other hand, if we talk about the Art Act through which egg donation is done, that is, as I already said, married women can do that, and once per lifetime, and that should be altruistic. No kind of commercial sale is legal under the Art Act. Okay, so this is all about the ART Act 2021. Okay, now I also want you to quickly revise about how the IVF process is done. Wait. Okay, so let us just quickly revise the IVF method also. In case of IVF method, what is done? Suppose the egg is collected from the mother. Okay, so from the mother's ovary, basically the biological mother, not mother, but we would be saying biological mother because she is donating the egg. So from her ovary, the ovum or the egg will be collected through a surgical method, like basically an injection will be inserted through her vaginal wall, and then from the ovary, the ovum will be collected. The healthy ovum will be collected, and because that she will be also given hormonal injections. Okay, now because definitely somebody is given hormonal injection, so she will be ovulating, and multiple ovulation can be there. Okay, like multiple ovulation means generally in every cycle, every month, one woman releases one egg, but because of the hormones that is given here, because of the induction of the hormone, she will be ovulating more eggs than the usual. Now the eggs will be collected, and after collecting those eggs, okay, now the sperm will be either injected, okay, injected in the lab setup in a plate under the microscope, and then after injection of the sperm in the egg, we know that the sperm and egg will fuse with each other, and this fusion of sperm and egg is called the fertilization. Now, because this is happening outside the body in the lab, we call it in vitro fertilization. Once the fertilization is done, next the healthy embryo will be transferred either again back to the womb of the biological mother, or if she is not able to carry the child, then it could also be transferred to the womb of a surrogate mother. Okay, so that is how this IVF process is done. Okay, so this much we will be covering for today. I hope the classes, the coverage of Indian Express that we are having is helping you and you are understanding the topic. Please let me know. I will be so eager of knowing your thoughts and suggestions, and we will be meeting tomorrow with the tomorrow's Indian Express analysis. Till then, take care and bye-bye.